Hi, good morning everyone. My name is Parveen, and today in this particular module, I'm going to take you through 20 modules and which will really give the overview of what aviation industry looks like. And today in this particular module, a very important topic, that is understanding the different kind of aircrafts and cabin crew training. Well, have you ever wondered at some point of time that why do we have such kind of a different aircraft? Some are small, some are big, some are humongous. Some have a single engine, some have twin engine, some have single aisle, some have double aisle. So the reason being that different aircraft serve a different purpose altogether. So let's get started. Now we are going to cover in this particular module the different kind of aircraft. Let's see the agenda for today to understand different aircrafts and mandatory training for the cabin crew has to undergo. We also talk about flight attendant manual and operational manual. We also talk about minimum crew requirement and role function for the cabin crew. Let's get started. Aeroplane for the personal use and training can be high wings or low wing. Some of the aircraft has a high wing which is about the way it has to be, and lower wing is on the lower platform. So it can be high wings or low wing depend on where the wing is attached to the body of the aircraft. If it is attached to the higher side of the aircraft, is a high wing aeroplane. If it is attached to the lower part of the fuselage, is a low wing aeroplane. Well, what are the different aircrafts? Here are certain pictures you can see right here. Has a single engine, it has just one engine in the aircraft. Now talking about twin engine, it has two engines. For that particular purpose, it has two engines. Now talking about sports plane, which looks really nice and funky. That is the only purpose for fun. They don't go for the longer distance and they don't fly so high. So next we are talking about turboprop. It's a propeller kind of engine, not a jet engine, but it's a propeller engine. Now talking about sports plane, well, sports plane can have a high wing as well as low wing. It's also known as a biplane because it has two wings. One is positioned at the higher place, one is positioned at the low place. This particular aircraft you see right here has a third wheel which is below the tail of the aircraft, is also known as a tail dragger. The reason being that when the aircraft lands, it helps the aircraft in dragging for the certain time of distance. Now talking about retractable, what are retractables? Retractable flies faster than the fixed gear aeroplane, tucking the wheels inside between the takeoff and land. Most of the time when the aircraft takes off, after takeoff the wheel goes in, or rather wheels of the aircraft goes in, but in retractable it does not happen. Now we'll cover float plane. What are float planes? Float planes can land into water, and that is the purpose of it. So it can land into water while using pontoons and floats. Some of the float planes can land into runways as well because it has wheels. So sports plane can have a double purpose. They can land into water and runways. Now we'll discuss about seaplanes. Seaplanes are similar to the float planes because it can land into water. They put their fuselage into the water with their retractable wheels because it can land into on runways as well. They have the similar, rather having similar qualities landing into water. Now let's see what are twin engines. Now the purpose of twin engine is that they have to go for the longer distance. So it is important not to have one engine, but it's double engine so that it can take the aircraft for the longer distance. This is a twin engine aeroplane because it has two engines and propeller. Friends, that goes together. Now talking about turboprop. Well, turboprop propeller is powered by a turbine or a jet engine. Smaller aeroplanes like car uses a piston engine, so it can, the purpose why we have turboprop. They are fast business aeroplanes but can still use small or rough runways. Now again we are talking about business jet. Coming to the business jet, some of the aeroplanes, some of the business jet that flying nowadays are even faster, many times even fly higher than irregular airlines. So That's the little brief about business jet. Well, friends, aircraft are of two types. One is narrow body aircraft, one is wide body aircraft. Now, let's understand the difference between these two. Narrow body aircraft has a diameter of 3 to 4 meters only. It has a single aisle, and the seating arrangement is done in such a way that there are 4 to 6 seats. The largest narrow body aircraft can carry a maximum number of 280 passengers. Some example of narrow body jets are Boeing 727, Boeing 737, Boeing 757 and Airbus 320. Let's take a look at wide body aircraft. So in the wide body aircraft we have largest airlines with the fuselage diameter of about 6 meters. So while narrow body one had only 3 to 4 meters and wider body has about 6 meters, and it is always twin aisle and can accommodate more than 200 to 800 passengers. Look at some examples of Boeing 47, Boeing 767, Boeing 777 and Airbus 380. So friends, let's talk about seating configuration. The configuration of the seating arrangement is done in a particular manner that the way seating arrangement aircraft example 343 and 3 seats. So it can be just 3 by 3, 3 seats on the left side and 3 seats on the right side of the aircraft. Normally narrow body jet with one aisle has 2 seats per row, that is 3 and 3, 3 left side and the right side also 3 seats. This is the commonly which I've seen. Wide body jet has 2 aisles, normally comes 343, that is 3 seats on the left, 4 seats in the middle and the 3 seats right side of the aircraft. Now let's talk about budget airlines. Now friends, budget airlines are really cheap airlines which offers tickets at a very cheap or low price. So there are certain parameters for the budget airlines. Let's take a look. If I talk about budget airlines, they don't issue tickets, so there is no paper tickets given. They do not do connecting flights, they have only direct flight. They have shortened check-in timing, if I would say. And the fourth, if I talk about, they have only one class, which is economy class. So first class, no business class. They sell tickets directly to the public. And now these budget airlines do not work with any kind of a travel agency or a travel agent. They sell directly to the packs, to the passengers. They do not have any free meals on the entertainment as well. So that's a little brief about budget airlines domestically as well as internationally. There are lots of budget airlines which under these criteria. Now friends, we will talk about Airbus and Boeing. Now under aircraft there are two manufacturers, one is Airbus and second is Boeing. So we will now have the overview of Boeing and Airbus. Now let's first look at the Airbus. The Airbus was founded in 1970 and the headquarters is in France, so it has started. Now the British have about 20% of the aircraft which are Airbus. France has 37.9% and Germany has 37.9% shares. And the Spain has 4.2% of the aircraft which are of Airbus. So friends, let's talk about Boeing overview. The Boeing aircraft has also some specification requirement. It was founded in 1916 in Washington and is a leader in commercial and defense aircraft, defense satellite as well as space system. So the Boeing is not been only in commercial but it is also gone into aerospace as well. Required difference several aerospace pioneers, for example McDowell, Douglas and Rockwell International. It is an ambitious 787 Dreamliner. If I would say, it is so humongous that somebody looks at that particular aircraft, really falls in love with it because it has a composite material and fuel efficient, and the program cost is around $32 million. So that is the cost of Boeing 787. So friends, let's talk about Airbus models. Under Airbus, we have different type of aircraft. You must have wondered that Airbus can have huge models with himself. We have Airbus 300, which is twin engine, twin aisle. If I talk about Airbus 310, which twin engine and twin aisle. and it is modifiable. If I talk about Airbus 318 is twin engine single aisle and it goes for the shortened distance. Airbus 319 is twin engine single aisle and it is also go for the shortened distance. Airbus 320 is twin engine single aisle. Airbus 330 we have two engines and twin aisle. Now talking about Airbus 340 has four engines, twin aisle. Airbus 350 has two engines and twin aisle. Now let's talk about Airbus 380. That has four engines and it is a double decker aircraft. It has twin aisle and it can accommodate more than 800 passengers. Now friends, let's talk about Boeing models. Coming to the Boeing models, we have aircraft type 737, which is twin engine single aisle and short to the medium range. Now talking about 747 is again heavy four engine aircraft. 767 heavy twin engines, twin aisle and medium range to wide body. And now next we are talking about Boeing 777, which is have a very heavy engine. It has twin aisle medium to long range for the ultra long range and it go for the longer distance. Now we are talking about Boeing 787, have a two engines aisle and it has only for the longer distance. So that was the little brief about Boeing models. Well friends, after discussing the different kind of aircrafts, now let's come to the different kind of a training for the air hostess, for the flight steward has to undergo. Let's take a look at them. From the very first we have a initial training, conversion training, recurrent training, refresher training, and at last we have a instructor training for the air hostess for flight steward. So let's start with the initial cabin crew training. Coming to the first initial training, the kind of a training that every crew member has to undergo when she joins a particular dedicated airlines. Now the initial training can last from 45 days to 60 days at a stretch. The job of a cabin crew is not easy and it requires a high degree of responsibility and the specialization to ensure the safety and the comfort of the passengers. Therefore the cabin crew member needs to have undergo the training and it needs to have a combination of theory and practical. So coming to the conversion training, now a cabin crew member has to fly different Airbus, Boeing, which has a different models. She might be flying or he might be flying for Airbus or a Boeing ATR or a propeller. To know the different kind of aircraft in detail, she has to undergo something known as a conversion training, which makes sure that crew familiar with the particular specific aircraft types and also the safety system, the service equipment and the uses of all these. It is also having related with different kind of standard emergency procedures. Well, conversion training can happens for Airbus with different aircraft like Airbus 320, Airbus 330 and Airbus 340. Now talking about Airbus 380 also we have a conversion training. Now talking about Boeing aircraft 737, Boeing 740 and Boeing 57. ATR, if I talk about different aircraft models, we have which is 42 to 72 seaters. This program includes conversion. She has to undergo with different safety and emergency procedures. Now friends, coming to the cabin crew instructor training. Well, if you have a lot of flying experience and you want to retire from the flying and you want to join as a ground, you can become an instructor for cabin crew, air hostess, flight steward, and also you can become for CRM, crew resource management instructor. You can also become safety and emergency procedure instructor. That really help when you have a lot of knowledge to share and you can become a trainer in terms of having kind of training, which is the cabin crew instructor training. Now talking about refresher training. Refresher training is to be undergone by a cabin crew because when she has not flown for at least 6 months or more than that, she has a gap of 6 months or he has a gap of 6 months. So she has to go under refresher training and kind of understand the different kind of module and really prepare herself or himself well after needs to taken care of particular examination to know that she is efficient and proficient enough to fly. So this is all about refresher training. Well, friend, that was all that we had to tell you in terms of different kind of aircrafts and different kind of a training for a cabin crew member has to undergo. We sincerely hope that you enjoyed to listening this particular module, as well as how much time we basically have to really wanted to teach you in this particular module, the assignment of aviation. So keep listening, more videos in coming in your way. Thank you. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.